Welcome back to AZT.v. I'm here with the president and CEO of Aztec Minerals, Simon Dyakowski. Thank you for joining us.
Peter, thank you very much for having me on today. Great to chat with you.
Yeah, love to get an update from you because you just released some incredible numbers from your Tombstone project in Arizona. Actually, the best drill results ever since you started drilling back in 2017. Huge intercepts of gold. So also of an area that you didn't previously test before. So this is quite a hit that you came across here in the last few days. So if you give us a little bit more details on what exactly was hit, where this discovery or where this drill result took place, and what does this mean, for this project moving forward?
Yeah, thanks for the intro to that. It's funny, we often have our best drill result ever when we're reporting results from Tombstone. Although we've been working on the property since 2017, it just keeps surprising to the upside. So really thrilled to have reported hole TR 2517, the 17th hole that was drilled in our current and ongoing program of 2025. This hole tested an undrilled area in the northeast of what we call the contention target, and the contention target sits right in line with a historic open pit and underground mine. The underground mine operated in the late 1800s, early 1900s, focusing on high-grade silver, going down over 1,000 feet or 10 levels of mining. And then the open pit was one of the first heap leaches in the Western US in the late 70s and early 80s. So what we're doing with our drill program is expanding on that mineralized footprint. And hole 17, which tested a gap of knowledge that we had in and around another historic mine known as the Head Center, hit pretty big. And we got a nice return of 36.5 meters, 8.1 grams gold, and just under 50 grams of silver. And that started 9 meters down the hole. So very shallow, new area of high-grade mineralization, the best gold hit that we've ever had at Tombstone. And we've had some great hits there historically. And this comes, on our, I think, the 84th hole that we've drilled at Tombstone. So things are going well for us. We did start drilling this program back in the summer, and it's already November. So we've got 29 holes completed. We've reported the results from the first 13, so 16 in the lab, and drilling continues until the end of the year at least. We expect to get another 12 to 14 holes completed before the end of the year.
Lots of results coming out. And if I recall correctly, last year, the drill program was testing kind of the extensions of the deposit. With this year's program, you're doing more drilling in the pit area or around the pit directly. Is that kind of the focus to add ounces, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination. It's to add ounces and to expand, west and south as well. So, in our updated plan map that was released on November 4th, you can see there's, quite a few holes pushing the boundary to the east and also to the west. And so this hole in particular was to the northeast, but we are still pushing to the west and to the south. And we'll have an update out over the next few weeks showing where, the subsequent 14 holes will go. But the idea is to add ounces and to grow the footprint. And then as well, we had an update on our core drilling program. And so this is really testing at depth underneath the shallow oxide silver gold hosted system. And this program was temporarily paused through October and is now resuming hopefully next week. Next week being, mid-November around the 15th, to continue to test for this deeper underground mining style of target, potentially finding CRD or carbonate replacement deposit style, polymetallic mineralization, silver, lead, zinc. We do have some historic drill holes on the north end of the property that suggest the presence of this mineralization. And now we have obtained the correct machine that has the technological and manpower capability to go and drill test underneath the contention pit. So that's back underway next week. So another interesting facet to this exploration program.
So that's a whole nother potential for the story to become to hit that at that depth. So this is how deep are the core holes going down, and how many are you planning to drill?
Yeah, so at the time of the pause of the program, we were already about 390 meters downhole. And this is still above our target horizon that starts around 600 meters.
Mhm.
So ultimately, the total depth of these holes could be anywhere from 600 to 800 meters, depending on what we see towards the bottom of the hole. And so we're restarting next week already at almost 400 meters deep, and we'll continue to push that to I'd say 800 or 900 meters.
Okay.
And then how many holes? At least three. And if we're encouraged by what we see, we'll have the ability to expand it. We just completed our biggest financing ever, the $10 million. So that's in the bank now, and that'll give us the flexibility to expand if we like what we're seeing.
Okay. I mean, I noticed that financing, it was originally, I think, half the amount at 5 million. So you got really good interest. It's obviously with the gold and silver prices, more investment capital's coming in. So if you are you seeing more retail, institutional, like what kind of interest, where are you seeing the interest come from?
Yeah, it's really been institutional the last little while. The entire financing was taken by about three funds. One of them
Well,
took half of it. So
okay.
I think in total there were like seven subscription agreements. So it's fairly well held. And yeah, we've seen really most of the interest over the last few months institutionally. And I think what they're seeing is a valuation gap between us and their peers. I mean, our market cap right now is about $45 million with 10 million in the till. So an
Well,
enterprise value today, November 6th, of around 35 million Canadian, which is quite cheap, I think, compared to a number of similar exploration companies.
mhm.
And so I think that's what's driven a lot of the interest. We do have a great retail following as well. I think that's only going to grow going forward, especially with the United States emerging as really the friendliest mining jurisdiction in the world under President Trump's mining friendly
Mhm.
um, administration. So we're actually on private ground in Arizona, so that's a little bit less of a operational factor for us. We've had no issues with any permitting at all, even
Mhm.
even under the previous administration. But I think it's creating this influx of capital into the United States, which we'll benefit from as well.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. You definitely hear from other companies s- uh, about the fast track permitting, the support coming in from the federal government side, and also the discussion of especially silver becoming more of a strategic critical metal. China has restricted silver exports and so on. So I can't imagine the interest coming into domestic projects with silver deposits and so on. So that's a big shift in interest from investors and so on. But uh, this is not your only project. Do you have another interesting project just across the border? A nice gold project. Are you doing anything with Cervantes right now? What do you plan in the coming period?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have been doing some work over the summer. We did a pretty big sampling program right before the rainy season started. That was in June. Had some very positive results. Our target area around the initial discovery has grown quite significantly. So our plans there are still in the works, likely getting back out in the field in January, February. That's the regional dry season. That's when it's quite interesting geography there. The jungle turns to a desert basically over those months, and it gives us a really good opportunity to go and prospect. It's a bit difficult to prospect when it's rainy and green, much easier when it's all dried out and dead basically. So that happens January, February. We'll have some announcements out on that early in the new year, and then subject to market conditions and results, we would potentially look to resume a drill campaign there a little bit later next year and continue to grow that discovery. So
Okay.
Aztec still is very much gold, silver oxide focused, but the upside for polymetallic mineralization remains, we think, at both projects. And obviously, Tombstone is getting tested first in that respect. But
Mhm.
but certainly we have plans to look a little bit deeper at Cervantes next year as well.
Okay. So back to Tombstone, you have increased your ownership in the project over the last months. You're up to, is it 85%? How does that look? You've increased it from, I mean, a year or two ago it was in, I think, in the low 70s. So you continue to increase your ownership. What do you see going forward? Are you going to continue? to increase
Yeah,
that?
well, our partners have contributed at their 15% level. So for
Okay.
now we're 85-15. But ultimately, we'll see how that unfolds. We have, as you pointed out, increased from 75 to 85 over the past couple of years. But for the time being, we'll likely stay at 85 and kind of see what 2026 brings us in terms of any potential further dilution by our partners.
Okay. And with the core drilling, going back to that, that's something that obviously those are big holes. They're at depth, and they take some time to get the results back. So you're expecting those results early part of next year in the first quarter? It's kind of
Yeah,
target.
first, definitely first quarter for those results. We'll likely have more RC results out over the fourth quarter of 25, but I wouldn't expect to see any core results until the first quarter.
Okay, great. So a lot of results pending. I think he said 16 still from the RC side.
16 right now, and we're still drilling, and probably
And
more like 30 over the next 12 to 20 weeks or so.
okay, so you're very active. I mean, this Tombstone, you're drilling all over, and then adding the core sites. So, boy, okay, so lots of results coming out. You're financed. You're
Yeah.
not at the mercy of the markets now. You're in a good position for quite some time, I imagine, with that kind of a.
Yeah, well, we've been pretty stingy with the money whenever we've been able to raise it over the past few years, and we don't really anticipate changing that cautious approach. We don't have a crystal ball, and so we want to be as efficient as we can. Drill discovery cost per ounce. We want to keep that as low as possible. And I don't see any reason that that'll change. But yeah,
Okay.
we'll have very robust news flow through the end of this year and well into 26 without any need to come back to the market.
Awesome. Excellent. That's exciting period now for Aztec at Tombstone project. Lots of drilling results, and really looking forward to at the core drilling and see if hit that CRD style deposit. Is quite exciting. And of course, with the gold and silver prices now helping out, it's becoming a lot more interesting in the markets to be being active in the exploration side.
Yeah, I think it's still a great opportunity. We haven't, really had the run that some of the other companies have, our peers. Uh, Possibly that was due to the, need to refinance, which is done. And I'll point out that our last financing had no warrant. So our new investors came in on a restriction, a 4-month restriction with no warrant. So they were very keen to get positioned, and we're very grateful for their support.
That's excellent. That's really great to see. So we'll follow up soon with more results coming out and see how those continue to come together. Obviously, this drill hole 17 was quite exciting. You've been hitting around the pit, and yeah, a lot more drill holes to come out, and especially with those core ones also getting back going now. So exciting times for Aztec. Simon, thank you for your time. Looking forward to following up here in the coming month or so.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come on, and I wish you a good rest of your week.
Thank you, Simon. Likewise. Talk to you soon.
Bye.